I would like to encourage any of the attendants to ask any kind of question to any of the members of the panel. I see there is a question at the end. Eugenia, the microphone. Also, Professor Graney. The microphone is over the table.
Good evening. As a tradition, I ever make a couple of questions when I came here. Agustin knows me. I'm Juan Ruzafa, and I'm a telecom engineer. And I have two questions, one for Martha, another for the technician, the scene. The first one is about the IoT. I went to the IoT at the FIRA in last October, and it's true, many of the producers have no idea of security, but security is not only security against other people, also is against failures that can harm installations or people. What's your point about that?
It's a huge problem, and it is a huge risk. And one of the challenges that is posed by this risk is whose responsibility is it? Is it the responsibility of the entity or the person who is buying the device? Or is it the responsibility of the entity that is manufacturing the device or selling the device? And for my friends who know me, I'm going to give the standard lawyer answer, which is, it depends. But in fact, the answer is the responsibility at this time is for everyone. If you are buying a device, if you are buying a smart television, and I just bought one, and one of the options on the TV was to sign up for Netflix. Now, I haven't done it yet, but I will. But if I do, I give Netflix some of my personal information, and maybe Netflix is going to use it only for the purposes it says, but maybe Netflix isn't. Maybe Netflix is going to sell that information to a third party and generate a whole new revenue stream. And if I don't recognize that when I give them my personal information, shame on me. That's a huge challenge, that the information can be used in a different way. It can be used in a different purpose than is promised. The Federal Trade Commission in the U.S. has gone after a number of particularly television providers who have sold data for other reasons. But it's not like you can call up the Federal Trade Commission and they're going to go charging out and approach the vendor right away. It takes a long time, and there's a lot of data that gets taken between the minute you realize it and the minute it stops. So I say it depends, and I mean that, but I think the best answer is it's everyone's responsibility, everybody in the chain.
Okay, thank you. I'm thinking my television, my smart television acts as voice commands, but must be connected to the internet to give the whole features. Only a few of the features can be do with no internet connection. For me, this is the problem, and I'm working on a device that gives the whole features without internet connection.
So there are also some devices where the microphone is always on, like a baby monitor, for example. Now, I'm not sure how much information someone gets from a baby monitor, but the fact is you don't want that information out at all.
But this is a problem of the industry.
Yes.
The industry is not doing well, is my point.
Okay.
And the other question, please, is for Sin. I want to point that I agree with the diagnostic, but I disagree with the solution, because there are other technologies far better than Ethernet that can do the same. And on the other part, POTS network was hacked by Steve Wozniak and his friends in the early 70s and late 60s of the 20th century. I think the problem is, again, how the industry is making the things and how the industry is conducting, because better technologies that actual technologies or current technologies, sorry, have done in the garbage, like beta video, that was better, far better than VHS video. What's your point about that?
Yeah, well, just like you said, you know, Betamax was much better than VHS, but other things were involved in that, in the collapse of Betamax. But, well, yeah, for sure, there's a lot of technologies, that qualify very well. The thing about the using Ethernet, and the thing that we are thinking about is that it has to be disruptive, but has to have a continuity with the current systems. Like I said, if you just tell everybody, okay, just dump all your devices, dump all your software, you have to rewrite everything from scratch and everything, that ain't gonna work. That's not gonna work. So this is a disruptive evolution. This is not just adding more stuff. This is a disruptive evolution, but is an evolution. So the technology we've chosen with is Ethernet. And just like everybody can have their own technology. We're just trying to say that we think that this is one solution. But yeah, the problem with the technology is like I said, and you said too, that this technology that we're using is from very, very far ago now. In the internet ages is Jurassic, so we're still using it. So that is a problem.
Please, Professor Granell.
Considering the security problems you explained to us, is possible to organize a democracy with electronic vote? Because you control the fares, the voting, the persons there, and finally it's an account, and perhaps Donald Trump is winning or Hillary is winning, no? But what happens in the middle? No? Is possible to make electronic vote sure for everybody? And second question, can be a solution for the internet questions and the managing of international telecommunications and so on, to create an international body regulating the thing and not something that is just in the hands of the private sector or the companies and so on, or multinational companies and so on? Can be an agency of United Nations providing for security or providing for these kind of things? What do you think about? I don't know who, perhaps Marta or Sean can be the person that can reply.
Well, for the legal questions, for sure, it's not going to be me.
John, do you want to answer?
Well, I think part of the problem with this whole issue is, as I mentioned earlier, is an issue of trust. And how are you going to trust something that you're not sure you could trust? So it's going to be a very difficult proposition all the way around. I mean, you can have legal entities and you can have collaborative communities trying to work together, but at the end of the day, the public is going to either trust it or they're not. And you could have 3 million additional votes that actually is a popular vote, but the person who gets that doesn't win at the end of the day. So I don't know. There is no real answer there. Is it possible to have an agency? Sure. Why not? but who picks those people, and who is in fact going to be responsible for them? And by the way, do you trust them? It's a very big question. It's a very difficult question. But you raised it, and I think it's worth exploring.
My answer is we cannot live without values. So we need to trust and to need to collaborate. There is no other option, in my opinion. If we don't, we can choose every morning when we wake up if we want to build or we want to destroy. And if we want to work for true or we want to go for lie. So, and in my opinion, this is this is a metaphysic answer, but the true is more powerful than the lie.
Of course, but if Mr. Putin can put the president of the United States, you can imagine, no?
Well,
the revolution, you know, the permanent revolution.
Well, you know, it's a great question, and you know, as we've talked about this as a panel, one of the great things that's kind of unique about the United States is we have 50 different states with 50 different voting platforms. And even inside those states, there's places that do manual, you know, handwritten ballots. And one thought is, why do we have 50 different, you know, systems? And even beyond that, you know, in Georgia where I live, there's like 150 counties just within inside one state, okay? But what that does is it makes it very difficult for someone to hack an election, because you have to hack all these different little tiny counties within these states, and it makes it difficult for the people counting. But at the same time, the fact that it's not centralized by the federal government is one of the things that makes it more secure. So if there was a body that says, okay, we're going to centralize all this functionality, it makes it more vulnerable. The other thing, just to point out, there really hasn't been any accusation or any evidence presented that the election tally itself, the count itself, was hacked or that it was influenced at all. As Martha pointed out, the influence was more leaked emails that maybe turned the direction slightly, that could have had an outcome of the election. But the election itself, I think most Americans are like, you know what, it is the count. And as best as it can be. Now, we do have people that vote twice and dead people that vote, and we have all these other problems, but it being impacted from the outside is not, at this point, a massive concern.
But I just want to add, though, that perception is a problem, because even though possibly it wasn't hacked, some people believe, because they've been being told they should believe, a particular point of view. So again, it becomes another level of issue, and that issue, from my perspective, is can you trust the message?
Well, and if your side lost, then of course, you know, it was hacked and we were cheated and we can't accept the outcome. You know, there has to be another reason why, you know, my candidate lost. So.
So I wanted to ask, and I'll tell you how it works for me, how you physically vote. I go to my fire department. I physically write. I have to check things off by hand. I take the piece of paper, and it gets scanned. And that's only within the last 2 years. Before that, it was a machine where you pulled the lever. But now it's a piece of paper with my marks on it, and then it's scanned. How do you vote?
Well, yeah, and we have a machine where you touch the screen, but you know, I think part of it is that it doesn't need to be on a network. You know, these devices don't need to be networked together. They can be counted at the local, you know, voting district. So I think, you know, one of the problems we've seen is devices that are on the internet, that are interconnected, that really don't need to be in the first place. And so, you know, that's definitely an issue as well.
Larry, how do you vote?
I vote the way you do now.
Physically.
I physically go and darken in the right dots, and then it goes through the machine, and then it validates it. Yeah, I've been doing that for a number of years. So Oklahoma isn't quite as behind, I guess, as New York.
We don't have technology like that in the UK. We put a cross in the box and someone counts it.
Any other question? So I will like to close the session. saying thank you very much to the speaker. Thank you, John, Tom, Marta, Larry, Dave, Son. I also want to say thank you to Telecos PONCAP, his president, Pedro Linares, who is with us, and Salvador Ramon, and all the staff of telecos.com. I also want to say thank you to Cisco and Frank Blackwood for his support. He unfortunately is not here today. I also want to say thank you to the team of Athinsol for recording and broadcasting this event. I want to say thank you to the Col·legi Oficial d'Agents Comercials de Barcelona for this auditorium. I also want to say, I'm sorry, to say thank you to my team. And I would like also to say a small words, is that despite the reactionary and protective movements observed around the world, I really believe that collaboration, networks, interdependence are essential for wealth creation along the planet. This is what this event has been about. I think all we have felt the power of cooperation, the power of communications, the power of sharing ideas from different points of views, and the lessons we have been learning are, in my opinion, are allowing us to better understand not only the technology, also the reality. So altogether, coming from very far away locations, we are building a better world, much better communities, interconnected communities. We know that this is a continuous process, a race without a finish line. This is why every day when we wake up, we must go ahead and, like President John Fitzgerald Kennedy, we choose to go to the moon because it's very difficult, not because it's very easy. Thank you very much for coming, and now we can share a cocktail and a cup of cava. Thank you very much for coming.